Welcome to the Compass e-learning series. This session will provide step-by-step instructions on how to download the data from your core system into Financial Compass or Budget Compass Plus. In the next few minutes, we'll go over these steps. First, create a backup copy of the Compass database files. Prepare the current month extract file or files. Run the download process from Compass. Review the error log and add any new general ledger numbers to the correlation tables as indicated in the error log. And if you change the correlation tables, rerun the download. Review the Compass Update Financial area to verify and/or manually adjust your data. Compute the plan. Update projected rates. Clear red flags. Print reports. Update everything to the executive dashboard. It looks like a lot of steps, but this entire process can typically be completed in less than 15 minutes. Details of the process may vary for some institutions. An Excel workbook called Monthly Update, followed by your institution's name.xlsx, was provided to your bank when Compass was delivered. This workbook has multiple tabs that cover specific details for your institution. The Monthly Update tab has a detailed checklist for performing your download. If you can't find this workbook, give PlanSmith support a call. All right, we're ready to walk through the process. Our first step is to locate and back up the previous month's data. If you don't have the Monthly Procedures workbook and you don't know how to find the data, you can open Compass by double-clicking the Compass icon on your desktop. The Select a Plan file box will then appear with the path to your data. Use Windows Explorer to locate the path to the Live Data folder, and select the Live Data folder and choose Copy, or use Control-C. Then open the Archives folder to locate the month and year that you're backing up. Either right-click and choose Paste, or use the Control-V, as in Victor, keys to paste your live data into the Archive folder. The second step is to transfer the extract files that were created by your institution's core system into the Live Data folder. The File Names tab in the Monthly Procedures spreadsheet shows the format and the name of the files that you will need. Note that your file name must be exactly the same as it's shown in the File Name column. If you don't know how to find the extract files, ask someone in your organization who's more familiar with your core system. So we will copy all General Ledger extract files and paste them into the Live Data folder. If you have a DL Convert, you'll see that listed as one of the steps in your checklist. Follow the instructions to properly convert the GL file before pasting it into the Live Data folder. The third step is to run the download. Open the Compass program. It will default to the last plan file that was used. If that looks correct, simply click Open. If it doesn't look right, click Browse and navigate to your Live Data folder. You always want to pick the MDB file that has the name of your institution in it. Never click on rateworks.mdb. This is the file that runs behind the scenes and will never be opened directly. Now that we're in Compass, we can start the month-end download. The navigation toolbar is meant to be followed in order from left to right, and doing so will ensure you've hit every step in your checklist for the new month-end reporting. To start, click on the Data Bridge icon. Verify that the Download For date is correct. Then click the Perform Download button. Compass will complete the download and display the Data Bridge error log. Some clients like to archive these files. If so, click File, then Save As from the Notepad main menu. Add the month and year to the file name and click the Save button. You may want to refer to the error log later to help you locate any issues that aren't resolved in the normal download process. But for now, we'll just click the X in the upper right-hand corner and close the Notepad. We're ready for the fourth step, to fix any issues in the error log. Although there are 10 buttons in the Select Table to Edit box, you probably won't need to use all of them. For example, the 3 repricing tables are only needed if your core system must generate a separate file from repricing dates for investments, loans, or deposits. Always start with the Balance Sheet Correlation Table button to fix the GL account numbers on the error log. Click the View New Codes to see the missing account numbers. You'll want to map it to the appropriate Compass account. To do that, click the Transfer New Codes, then click Sort to Map. This will add the general ledger numbers in numerical order in the GL Codes table. And it will take you to the first code that is unmapped. In this case, that's GL number 112600. Compass often combines multiple general ledger accounts into one Compass account, and it looks like GL number 112600 might be an FRB reserve account because the accounts on both sides of it are mapped there. But it's important to know for sure. You can check an official bank document or a knowledgeable bank staff member, but make sure that you get it right, because in this case, for example, it turns out that 112600 is not an FRB account, but it's actually a Due from Banks account. To create the mapping, find Due from Banks in the My Accounts list. Click on Due from Banks and drag it to the Data Goes To column in the same row as the correct GL number. If there are additional new GL numbers, click the Next Mapping button at the bottom of the screen. That takes us to GL number 258750. We could map this Compass account to other liabilities, but we know that management wants this new GL number to appear as a separate line item in our Compass reports. Now, that line item is going to be called Accrued Taxes, and it should not be mixed in with other liabilities. So we'll create a new Accrued Taxes account in Compass. To do that, click the Cancel button to close the Correlation Table editing box. A caution here, if you click Save Changes rather than Cancel, any remaining unmapped GL numbers will not be displayed the next time you come here unless you rerun the download. So it's better in this case to click Cancel. After we do that, we'll click the Projections button on the navigational toolbar, and we'll scroll down the chart of accounts until we reach Other Liabilities. We'll right-click on the folder name and select Add New Account. We'll enter the account name, that's Accrued Taxes, and click the Next button. We don't need a cost factor, so we'll click Next again. Accrued Taxes is non-interest bearing, so we'll click Next again, and the Account Setup Complete box appears. Click OK, and then we'll go back to DataBridge. There we'll click the same correlation table that we were working on, in this case the balance sheet. When we click the View New Codes, we're back to where we started to work on the table, but it won't take long to re-enter the first code. We'll just repeat the same steps of clicking Transfer New Codes, Sort to Map, and dragging Due from Banks to the line with our GL number again. Then we'll click Next Mapping, and we'll get to that GL number 258750. This time we need the scroll bar to the right of My Account list to scroll down and find Accrued Taxes in the list. Once we find it, we just click on it and drag it to the Data Goes To column. As soon as we do that, a Mapping Complete message appears in the lower right area of the Correlation Table editor. When we see this, it's safe to click Save Changes and then click the next table, in this case, Income Expense Correlation Table. Well, we see that the View New Codes button is grayed out or not available. That means that there are no unmapped income or expense GL numbers this time, so we can skip this table. Had the button been available, then we would just follow the same steps and methods that we used in the balance sheet table. Since no changes are needed here, we can either click Save Changes or Cancel, doesn't matter. It'll close the income and expense editing screen, and then we can move on to the next table, which is the Investment Maturity Correlation Table. Well, good news, the View Codes button is grayed out again. So we'll click Cancel and we'll move on to Loan Maturity Distribution Table. Oops, we got the View New Codes button live here, so we'll click it and we'll need to edit this correlation table. Codes for applications, that's investments, loans, and deposits, are more complex than general ledger numbers that are used in the balance sheet and the income and expense tables. Application data files often contain a number of different fields that we need to use to sort and process each instrument or individual row in the data that we're importing. Compass has the ability to use up to 5 different descriptors or fields in each of these records to group instruments into categories. So we'll need to know which fields are used and what the codes mean in your institution's system to be able to decipher these new codes. Here are a few pointers. Descriptors and their meanings are different for each data processor and institution. And individual descriptors can vary in length and come from virtually any area of each row in the data file, or sometimes even for multiple areas when a preprocessor is used. File names, field definitions, and locations for your institution are listed on the File Names page of your Monthly Procedures workbook. Here's a portion of the Files Name tab in our sample institution, so you can see what this looks like. Well, let's get back to Compass. And we'll click the View New Codes button in this table, then Transfer New Codes, then Sort to Map. Oh good, there's just one code here, but what does it mean? Keep in mind that these definitions are probably not the same as what your institution uses, but in this case that first 2 digits, the 22, is the class code. Looking here, you see all the other 22s are commercial LOC or lines of credit, and that must be our class code definition. Of course, in your institution, you'd have a list of these codes and know for sure. The next code is a 2, and we know that that's the loan rate code. It identifies the index, for example, prime rate, LIBOR, whatever, that is used to price the loan. A rate code of 0 means that the loan is fixed. Continuing on with the code, the first 0 is the rate change frequency code, and 0 means no frequency, but it's used in this system for both fixed and floating rate loans. The next 0 is the non-accrual code. Here a 0 means that the loan is accruing interest. The final code that we see here is an F. That code is the floor and ceiling code, and an F indicates that the loan has a floor. If it had a ceiling, there would be a C, and if it had both, you would see both an F and a C. Based on these definitions, the correct Compass category for our new code here is Commercial LOC-Variable with/F. So we'll drag that account from the My Account List column to the empty cell in the Data Goes To column next to our new code. There we go, our mapping complete message appears, and that indicates that it's time to save the changes on this table and move on to our last correlation table. That's the deposit correlation table. Well, again, the View New Codes button is active, so we better click it. And we'll click the Transfer New Codes, and then we'll Sort to Map. Here our code starts with a 1. It looks like that's the class code for regular CDs. The next code is a 12. Now that's the term, which means it's the number of days or months or years. And then the following code, the M here, means months, and that could be Y for years or who knows what else. And the next code is a C, and that's the balance indicator. A C means over 250,000. So we know that this particular code, the Compass account is CDs greater than 250K with a 7 to 12 month original maturity. Let's drag it and drop it. Oh, there goes our mapping complete message, so we're ready to save changes. Our sample institution doesn't need any of these repricing tables, so we can skip those. But what are the distribution table and file specification buttons all about? Distribution tables are used to break out one or more general ledger categories into 2 or more different Compass accounts. Normally, there's no need for you to edit or review the distribution table during the monthly update process, but if you have questions about it, you could click Help on the main menu, then select Online User Manual, and look for more information there. On the other hand, you could just give PlanSmith a call. Similarly, it's rarely necessary to change anything in the file specifications. In fact, PlanSmith really recommends that you never attempt to edit this area without help from our support staff. We've corrected all of the correlation tables, but the actual data itself for these new accounts hasn't been transferred to Compass yet. Step 5 is to perform another download so that the balances from these new codes flow through to the Compass accounts. After this second download, the new error log has no codes. That confirms that all the links worked. We're ready for the next step. Now that the data is loaded, we want to verify it and make any adjustments that are necessary. Step 6 is to click the Update Financial icon in the navigation toolbar or select Update Financial under Update on the main menu. Click the top left corner of the screen to verify that it's the correct month. Many GL systems do not aggregate all the year-to-date income and expense accounts into a current earnings account, for they do not assign it to a general ledger number. To account for this, you may have special instructions that are noted in your monthly update checklist. The special instructions will probably say something like, enter current earnings in the supplemental data section of the Update Financial screen. Once all your special instructions are taken care of, review the bottom middle area called Balancing Recap. First and foremost, check that the difference at the bottom is 0. If not, we need to find out if it's total assets, total liabilities, or total capital that are causing the difference. Now, if it's only off $1,000 or two, it's probably rounding, and you could just plug that in a miscellaneous account. But if the totals are off for both the end of month and average balance, make sure that they tie back to your statement of condition. And lastly, verify that the total net income matches to that dollar amount as well. Remember that Compass rounds balance sheet numbers to thousands, but the income statement is to the nearest dollar. The news here is everything looks good, so we're ready to click the Save Data button. This is important. If you do not click Save Data, it will not save the manual adjustments that you just made, and it will not prompt you to your next step. After you click the Save Data button, Compass returns a prompt that the data is saved, and you click OK. Another prompt advises you to compute the plan. Computing the plan will recalculate and refresh all reports and ratios with the newly downloaded information. Once the compute is done, you'll be at the Compute Summary screen. This will display an annual summary of what the balances look like before and after the last compute. Step 8 is to update the interest rate projections. This will not impact the historic financial reports, but it's essential to have current rates for reviewing any future projections, what-ifs, budgeting and the like, as well as any interest rate risk reports. Updating rates is really easy. Just click the Rate Forecast button on the navigation toolbar, then click the Auto Update button. Look over to the left-hand side of the screen and make sure that it says Rates are current. If your institution subscribes to the Blue Chip Forecast option from PlanSmith, you can also access their complete report by clicking the View Newsletter button. When you click on any other button or menu choice to leave the Rate Forecast screen, you'll be asked if you want to save changes. Be sure to click Yes. And always compute the plan to make sure the entire system is updated with the new information. Step 9 is to review the balance sheet section of account projections and clear any red flags. Compass automatically checks for many different kinds of inconsistent or missing data that could create errors in your reports or your projections. There's a separate e-learning series video that explains red flags. Now you're ready to click the Reports icon for viewing and printing your newest financial statement and variance reports. The last step is to update the executive dashboard. Click Utilities in the menu, select Submit Plan to Executive Dashboard, and follow the prompts. Your data is now ready for viewing by anyone with the username and password on the dashboard website. This completes our review for performing the monthly download in Compass. Thank you for taking advantage of our e-learning series. Additional information and tutorials are available via the link shown or by calling 1-800-323-3281.